Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about RV shopping. It's the time of year where everybody's putting their rigs in storage. All us full-timers are trying to huddle in places like this. Have a look. Beautiful. It's paradise. Anyway, so today we're going to go over 10 things that we would look for while we're shopping for a new RV. We're not in the market right now, but I think a lot of you might be. We're going to go over some topics for full timing that we think you might want to look for. So I came up with a list of 10 things and we'll get going on them. Here's another quick view. Look at that. Beautiful. So number one is brand. Now, so many brands, so many floor plans. I'm not going to go in depth with any of that right now. Just keep in mind that if you're on a lot and you're looking through an RV and you're seeing quality issues already when it's brand new sitting on the lot, those issues are probably going to carry over to places you can't see. Quality is a big thing when it comes to purchasing an RV. A lot of them are built the same, some of them come down the same lines, but keep in mind when you're full timing, you're putting a lot more miles on one of these than the average user. You're putting your slides in and out way more than a weekend warrior. You put a lot more wear and tear on the rig, so quality is a major concern. Now, along with manufacturer comes warranty. There are a few brands that I can think of off the top of my head that do advertise full-time warranty, meaning that they will warranty it if you live in it full-time. A lot of brands will not, so keep that in mind when you're looking. Having a service network around the country through dealerships, if they will do warranty work through mobile techs, it's another thing to keep in mind. So I'm not going to get into the whole brand thing. It's kind of a personal preference. Some people have brand loyalty. I understand it. Just keep that in mind if you are shopping for an RV to go full time, is look for that full time warranty. Number two is suspension and weight. Now, when we bought our rig, we bought it off the lot, so it came with the 7K axles. One upgrade I really wish that we had from the manufacturer is 8K axles. If you have an option to get 8K axles, get it ahead of time. You're going to be better off. Number one, most 8K axles upgrades come with disc brakes, which is safer than drum brakes going down the road for sure. You're going to get a little bit better suspension, and you're going to have a larger cargo capacity. Tires are another thing to look for because most RV manufacturers are going to put cheaper tires on. They're starting to listen to the consumers a little bit more nowadays, but a lot of people, you're still going to buy your rig and have to put new tires on it because they have cheap tires. So keep that in mind when you're looking as a possible upgrade right away, because if it does have cheaper tires on it, you are going to have to upgrade them. Number three is a tow vehicle. Now, if you're shopping for a Class A, Class C, or a van, something along those lines, this wouldn't really concern you, but having a truck that is capable of towing the weight of your RV is extremely important. The big number you're going to want to look at is your cargo capacity, or if you're towing a fifth wheel, you're going to want to look at your max gooseneck weight rating. If you're towing on a travel trailer, you're going to want to look at the bumper hitch weight and the max tongue weight that you can put on there. Now, I'm going to show you 3 pictures here. I had a 3/4 ton Denali. That was a 2020 diesel. Show you the cargo capacity here. This is my neighbor's 1-ton single rear wheel short bed Denali. Same as my 3/4 ton, just a 1-ton single rear wheel. And then here's a picture of my 1-ton dually long bed, and give you an idea of the cargo capacities that they can handle. These are all similar trucks within 1 year of each other, so it gives you a good comparison between the 3 different setups of 3/4 ton, 1-ton single rear wheel, and 1-ton dually. You can really see the difference there. Now, our rig overall, we're under 18,000 pounds. I weighed it, did it the right way, unhooked, then hooked up. I have a tongue weight of 4,100 pounds. As you can see in those other 2 pictures, 3/4 ton, no way. You're never towing a decent sized fifth wheel with a 3/4 ton. The 1-ton, it's already over its max. So we're in dually territory with this fifth wheel already. I would not recommend towing If it's squatting your truck, in my mind, really bad and you need airbags or something to level out your ride, it's probably not enough truck. So number 4 is a hitch and your pin box. So on our setup, right from the get-go, I went with a gooseneck. I didn't want a hitch in the back of the truck. I didn't want to have to deal with moving it if I needed my truck, stuff like that. The ease of having a gooseneck nowadays on a fifth wheel is just, it's night and day difference to me anyway. Now it's personal opinion. I'll show you my hitch. I have a Gen Y, and here is a Reese goose box, same concept, just a little bit different setup. Then there's a conventional fifth wheel hitch and pin box. So it's a thing to consider when you're looking at fifth wheels. It's another one of those items that I would get installed at the dealership, so you don't have to worry about trying to sell it or upgrade it later, especially if you're on the road full time. And if you're in a travel trailer, I highly recommend getting weight distribution hitch with sway control on it. I would not pull one of these bigger travel trailers without it. So that's another thing to keep in mind. That's a thing that you can buy at the dealership usually when you're financing your rig and everything. Don't skimp out. Don't try to think that you get it later and upgrade later and stuff. Just get it, be safe right from the get-go. So number 5 is AC units. If your rig has an option for 3 AC units, get it. If it only comes with 2 and it's prepped for a third, have the dealer install the third one while you're there and have it included in the final price. Our rig, it was most dealerships, the rigs that they have on the lot are what they ordered, what they foresee their customers wanting to purchase. Well, I wish our rig had the 3 ACs on it. We've ran into a few instances where I wish we would have had it. It was getting pretty hot outside. It started getting pretty warm in the rig when you're out in the desert. Even if you're in the northern states anymore, you know in the summertime it can get extremely hot and humid. And in a bigger rig, 3 ACs are working more efficient and they'll keep it cooler in there for you. Our rig, it only came with 2 and it's not pre-wired for the third. So for us to add a third now would be dang near impossible. I shouldn't say impossible, but it would not be worth it. So something else to keep in mind, I highly suggest getting that third AC. So number 6 is insulation. Now, when you get into the higher end rigs and Class A stuff like that, they're going to have the thicker walls already. You know, a brand like Lux and Fifth Wheels or DRV, the Riverstones, stuff like that. They'll have thicker walls with a little more insulation. Now, when I talk insulation, it's not just to keep the cool or keep the warmth in or out. It's sound. It's if you have the thinner walls in an RV, if you've ever been RVing before, you understand that you can hear your neighbors, every car that goes by, a bunch of noises outside. So if you're trying to work full time, you're going to want it to be as quiet in the rig as you can get it. Now, I know from experience, we do not have dual pane windows. Our friends do. It's a huge difference. We were talking, and our rig went over into their rig to talk, and there was a generator running behind us, and you could hear it crystal clear in our rig, and you can barely hear it in their rig. So it absolutely makes a difference with sound. Another thing I recommend that you get on your RV. So number 7 is cargo capacity. So our rig, we have about 2,800 pounds of cargo capacity. When we hit the road, we packed super light. We knew what we were getting into. We knew that we needed to pack as light as we possibly could. The first time I weighed the rig, we were still 1,100 pounds overweight. Now we've slimmed down a lot since then. We're probably still a little bit over, but pretty close. So 2,800 pounds for a family of 4, that's running tight right there. It's hard to fit everything in your rig that you need, just the basics, and keep it around there. So cargo capacity is a major thing to keep in mind. Now that goes back to the 8K axles that I was talking about. Those will give you more capacity from the get-go. The thing is, if you have it done through the manufacturer, that will reflect on your sticker on the outside. That will give you more capacity legally for your official weight ratings. If you do it aftermarket, you're not going to have that same. Granted, it will give you more cargo capacity, but it's not going to reflect that on your official weight sticker. It's number 8. So when you're out looking for a rig, one thing that you got to keep in mind is which way your windows face. Now, our travel trailer, we fell in love with it. We walked in there and we thought it was so great. The first camping trip out, woke up in the morning and opened up all our blinds, and we're looking out right at our neighbor's campsite because all of our windows were on the opposite side of our campsite. It might seem like a small thing, but over time it got really weird waking up, opening your windows and waving at your neighbor. So that was one of the things that we really wanted to look for when we bought our rig. This rig has giant windows on our campsite. We can look at our campsite, keep an eye on our kids, stuff like that, keep an eye on our stuff. So keep in mind where the placement of windows are, and really want windows on both sides because you can get a nice cross breeze. Like this rig, we don't have a lot of windows on the other side. We went from one extreme to the other, so we don't get a good cross breeze, not a lot of ventilation. We're running the air conditioning all the time, so it's another thing to keep in mind, our windows. It's number 9 is generator. Now, if your rig has an option for an onboard generator, get it. It's one of those things that seems like an expense at the time, but trust me, you will run into times where there is no power. Whether it's a campground outage, whether it's a storm outage or a regional outage, you're going to run into times that you don't have power. Even if you don't plan on ever boondocking or mooch docking or doing any of that type of stuff, you are going to run into a time that you need a generator. Having an onboard generator is so much nicer and easier, especially for someone like me with a bad back trying to move generator around and pull it out and hook it up and all that stuff. So if you can afford it and you have the option to get an onboard generator, I highly recommend it. You can just hit the button from inside and start it up and you have your power back. A lot of them now are even automatic, where as soon as the power's off, they kick right on. So it'll save your food and save your computers, stuff like that, if you're working, stuff like that. So now for number 10, we're going to go inside and let Ange talk about the things she would look for in a kitchen.
So now we're inside and we're going to talk about the kitchen, mostly counter space and storage space. You can see here we have dirty dishes in our sink. We have some dishes drying, and I don't have my sink covers on like they do in a lot of the walkthrough videos, and I still have enough counter space to prepare food or do whatever it is I need to do in the kitchen, and that was important to us. Also, you want to think about storage. What kind of storage do you have for everything you're going to cook with? So pots and pans, baking sheets, and do you have drawers for your utensils and your towels? Do you have enough room in your pantry, not only for your food, but for your dishes, cups, and those types of things? And the last thing is, you can tell in our kitchen, I can be in here and I can be doing some food prep and cooking, and my family can still access the pantry and the refrigerator without us bumping into each other, and that was important for us. So those are just a few things to consider for full-time living. So if you found anything in this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you.